Twitch. There it is. So out of that, go to speed. That one. Scroll down. It's this one. It's still uploading. Looks of things. There we go. So the stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go, and I can hear myself, that's fantastic. So, hello and welcome ladies and gentlemen to round 6 of the AM1 Championship on Contest of Speed. It's time for the Bahrain round of the championship here at Sakhir International Circuit, a 4.41 kilometer 15 turn racetrack. It's one of the better Tilkedromes that have been designed around the globe. Generally speaking, it's a great all-round racetrack. It's got several overtaking opportunities, most notably at turns 1 and 4. Rest of the racetrack, it's fairly difficult to overtake. You do have half an opportunity at turn 11. Same with turn 8 as well. I've seen a few drivers send it up there as well. But generally speaking, racing around here is pretty good, and we tend to get a bit of drama, a bit of action as well, and qualifying tends to be pretty close as well, just off previous experiences, because I've been doing an entire week full of Bahrain. All the other leagues are doing Bahrain as well. It's just that it's all come together. I'm kind of getting sick of this place already, but hopefully the racing will still be fantastic. But I'm not alone in the commentary box for tonight. I have a special guest in the form of Bodhod, and the only reason why you're here is because you're leaving about halfway through to go to a doctor's appointment. So I won't have you for the entire stream, but it's very nice to have you alongside me, Bodhod, and I think this is the first time ever we've done commentary together, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, hi everyone. Nice to be in the box, and yes, after all this time, we've actually managed to find each other in the same box, which is pretty nice. It's been a long, long time coming, I think, but
absolutely.
It's good to join you for most of this race.
But as a driver of the AM1 tier, how's your time been within this league? Because we haven't had a great driver's perspective inside this championship. For you, how has it been?
I've enjoyed it. I joined in season 4 when we first started the American series, which had the 1 tier. I was the lone Aussie, well, until this season actually. That was when I first kind of jumped online, so used all of my assists that I used. For those who don't know, I don't use any assists now. That was a fun season. Then for season 5, I took them off when we split into 2 American tiers. And in season 6, I was sitting in AM2 as well, and got the call up for AM1 after taking out AM2 last season. So I really enjoyed being a part of this league, and managing to race alongside a lot of really, really strong competitive drivers. Particularly a lot of the guys in this tier actually. A fair few OGs in the AM series and Contest of Speed, which is pretty nice. That's kind of been my experience in this league. It was my very first league, actually, so it's always going to hold a special place in my heart. But it's been a lot of fun. It's a very well-run league, great community. So that's kind of my experience of Contest of Speed.
Well, generally speaking, it's very positive, which is not something you see every day when it comes to certain leagues, as JDTV has half a moment there. But and it's not necessarily because of being a poor run league with some of the other leagues that I've run with. It's sometimes due to the game being just sort of garbage, and as a result it leads to complications in chats and whatnot, and it becomes really frustrating. But it's nice to hear that from a driver's perspective, someone's enjoying their time in the league racing. But, and also, because Bodhot, well, you are better than me. I would say that. I'm probably luckier than you, just off recent performances. But what's your opinion of this Sakhir racetrack here in Bahrain? What's your overall feel of this
No,
place?
yeah, I know it's really hit and miss with a lot of people. I don't mind it. I'd probably sit around the middle. It's definitely not my favourite, but it's far from my least favourite as well. As you mentioned in your pre-session wrap, it tends to throw up some pretty decent racing. Plenty of places you can kind of go side by side, but it's still relatively technical, I guess, particularly if you do have those assists off. A couple of really tricky curves, a couple of places you really have to get the line right to get the speed. So it's a good challenge of a circuit, as well as being a half-decent racetrack to race people with. So I do enjoy that aspect of it, but it probably isn't really up in my top 5 or 6 racetracks, I must admit.
No, neither.
Not too bad. Although my last couple of experiences here haven't been too great. I think I crashed out of qualifying the last 3 times I've been here. So
Yikes.
there you go.
You see, for me, I do have a high praise for this circuit because it's one of the few Tilka tracks that I do enjoy, and I think it does develop great racing. The only problem is I suck at this place. I really do. I cannot Bahrain. I just can't Bahrain. That's the only way I can put it. I cannot do any part of this place correctly. Like, I'm no assist as well. And I know assists are pretty good around here to have, particularly ABS. But it's just, I can't get the flow of this place. I don't know why. I just can't. And as a result, I tend to not have great races here as a driver. But as a commentator, I tend to see some pretty nice stuff around here. So hopefully we do get to see a bit of that quality racing around here. But right now, in qualifying, SWM Alp currently head and shoulders on top of the field right now, setting a 1 minute 24.743. He is...
It's not too bad.
He's 4/10 clear of P2, and that's some margin to try and find. And I know how quick that man can go around here, from another America's tier league, in another league. In another league. I've seen how quick that guy can go, and he can pull it out last minute as well, so I don't know, it's going to be difficult for anyone to challenge Alp around here at Sakir. Though he didn't end up winning the race, so he can nail a lap in qualifying, but he's not completely unstoppable around here, so
I think we've seen that with Alp a fair bit in the past. He's very, very good at hooking up a lap. You often see him top 10, top 15 time trial leaderboards. However, the race is a totally different story. Heavy your car, you can't really just run your time trial setups or shred your tyres. There's a lot more variety just in general having other cars around you in the race. There are plenty of quality racing drivers in this tier, so it's not a given, although qualifying at the front generally tends to help a fair bit.
That is very true. But again, if you can stay with the leaders at the start and utilise the DRS, then there's a proper fight on for the lead. So for the leader, they need to try and break away early. If they don't, then they're going to be in a bit of trouble following... sorry, I just noticed a notification just pop up on screen. I forgot to turn those off. But for the leader, if they still have cars behind utilising that DRS, they're going to have a fair amount of company over the course of the race. So yes, for Alp, he's got speed, but I think you're right. I think with the quality race drivers here in this field, you will find it quite difficult to try and pull away. And as of right now, no one's really challenging him in qualifying. He's the only driver in the 24s right now, though we have a lot of drivers on out laps. A couple of them are now on flying laps. Schwarner is one of them. Currently 4th place with a 1 minute 25.4. Sitting P4. He needs to improve by about 0.2 of a second if he wants to overtake Nicholas and take 3rd. He's making his way out of the 1st sector and through the 2nd sector in the high-speed S's, then into turn 8, where we'll see probably this massive carpet of rubber being laid down towards the apex of turn 8. It's quite a traditional thing to see. Mitch Burns has crashed out at turn 8.
Yeah,
at the entry to turn 8.
it'd be the exit of 7 there. I think that outside curb can really throw the car sometimes.
Yeah, look at that. Straight into the wall. It's quite an interesting section of racetrack, exiting the yeses. I haven't done that myself, where I've spun out into the barrier on the outside. But I've seen many drivers do that there. And I have noticed that the outside curb can catch a few people out when exiting turn 7. So, it's quite unfortunate for Mitch, out of qualifying so early. And he won't be improving from P13, so he will have a lot of work to do. But, Bodhod, in this sort of scenario, if you qualified inside the top 10 on the soft compound tyre, what would your optimum strategy be, do you think?
I think it's quite difficult. A couple of stories from recent races at Bahrain as well. Hards, 20 laps is pretty much as far as you're going to take them. And the soft tyres
I can actually concur to that. I can actually concur to that. I did a race in another league. I carried the hard tyres about 24 laps. They reached 85%, but they didn't puncture. So, they can go the distance, but I feel as if you need to be incredibly careful and just pray to the Codemaster's God so you don't get a puncture.
Yeah. Last night commentating AM2, we had a couple of guys who had to take them kind of 22 laps or so due to a slightly early safety car pit from softs to hards. We had one bloke who finished in 4th. Bamian Newell, shout out to him, best result of the season I think, or second best. His front right was at 96% when he crossed the line.
Gee whiz.
On 22 laps, so it is a fair stretch. We had another guy dropping about 10 seconds just trying to look after those tyres at the end. And to get the softs to the point where you can take them 20, 21, 22 laps, it's not the easiest thing because the softs do drop off so quickly in terms of pace. Because you need a lot of that front end, your front tyres tend to shred a fair bit, particularly in that second sector. So ideally you'd want to do a medium to hard. However, those top 10, they're probably going to have to try and stretch it because it's probably not quite enough laps to make a 2-stop work unless you've really got the pace. So you might see the like of Alpha Tempted. Nick as well is up there now. But it's definitely a lot better to qualify on mediums, but as is very common in Formula 1, we all know how important track position is. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how these guys approach the race on the strategy front.
But outside the top 10, what would you go for in terms of strategy?
I'd definitely be putting on mediums. Unless you're on the back row, maybe you put it on hards. But it's always a risk putting on the hard tyres at the start because once you get damage, your race is done.
Fair enough.
But I think the mediums are quite a good race tyre.
Holy moly! I'm sorry to cut you off. What,
Yeah,
24.3? Excuse me. That is a blistering lap time.
That's a lap and a half. Wow. My goodness.
He did a 24.4 in the other. He's found more time. And he made a mistake here at turn 4. I was watching that lap. He was sideways here at turn 4. I reckon he's got even more time he could find. That's
just incredible.
Okay. That sort of sets the tone, doesn't it? Oh my word. But I know a lot of the drivers outside the top 10 would either start on the hards or the mediums, but do you think any of them would gamble on the soft compound, maybe try and make track position early on?
Yeah, well, with only one run left, you've got a couple of quick blokes, Henrique and Bean, looking at particularly in 11 and 12. If they start there, they might want to throw on the softs to try and get back up to the blokes that they normally race. But yeah, I'm not really too sure. You can do a couple more laps on the fresh soft tyres, but I still think the mediums, it gives you a bit more flexibility as well, because you've only got really a 1 or 2 lap window to pit from softs to hards. Whereas with mediums, you can kind of take the mediums 13, 14, 15 laps, even 16 or 17 if you're really kind on them. It kind of opens up the race a bit more.
Yeah, it gives you greater flexibility.
Yes, that might be appealing. So I'd be surprised if people do start the soft tyres from outside the 10.
Well, I think we've covered everything in regards to the track itself and with strategy, because, of course, there's not going to be any sort of wet weather. I never did a league race where I've seen wet weather here at Bahrain, so we don't need to talk about that sort of stuff. Though that would be very interesting to see one day, a wet weather race here at Sakir International Circuit, just for something a bit different. Yeah, you would have to do it manually. And into the pits goes JD. So it's now time to talk about the end of qualifying. We've got just under 3.5 minutes left in the session. Drivers will more or less be preparing themselves for their final flying laps. And at the moment, there's one man who stands well above the rest. That time, that's going to be a hard time to beat. That's for sure. As Bean jumps up into the top 10 on a set of mediums with a 25.784. So he's looking to do what he did in, I keep referring back to another American league race. Bean did exactly this at Bahrain, where he qualifies on the medium tyre, does the medium to hard strategy, picks off positions early on, as both racing points are out of the session. In fact, one of them has crashed. Again, the same place where Mitch Burns crashed earlier in the session. See him right there. Is that Bosnia or... Oh, I couldn't quite tell who that was.
I'm not sure. They both retired at the same time.
Yeah, one of them's in the pits, one of them crashed out. But this is exactly what Bean did. Qualified on the medium tyres in the 10, made up a whole heap of track position early on. And then he was fighting with the drivers out in front. It was an unfortunate safety car, really, that led to his downfall in the end of that race. But he can definitely make that medium to hard strategy work. But this will be the action to watch. The guys at the top of the table, particularly that man. I want to see if that man can improve. I know he made a mistake here. That car was sideways at the exit of turn 4, so he can find a bit of time there. I can only dream of what kind of time he could set. Oh my word. Be absolutely bonkers, I'm sure. But I think the first driver out of the top guys is going to be Schwarner, currently 4th place with a 125.317. We'll ride on board, take you on a guided tour of this racetrack. He crosses the line down the incredibly long pit straight, heading towards the heavy braking zone of turn 1. Hard on the brakes, he'll go down to 2nd gear, take the apex quite nicely, then gently on the throttle, up through the gears, round turn 2, round turn 3, DRS open, he climbs through the gears again, into top gear, and he's hard on the brake at the 100 meter board, round turn 4, nice and gentle there, sector 1 says he's up by 0.08 of a second. Around the high-speed S's as the Stone Tower retires in the pit lane. His session is done. He won't be improving from 17th. Same with Lopez. He's 18th, still practicing on the wheel. But you'll find it quite relieving that he's not in dead last, that he's setting somewhat competitive lap times. Down the long back straightaway, coming out of the incredibly technical turns 9 and 10. Probably the most technical part of the racetrack, particularly for drivers who aren't using ABS. Round turn 11, then a round turn 12 with the auto spin curve on the inside. He's up by 0.03 of a second, so he's lost time in sector 2. See if he can nail the final sector here. He needs to find a lot of time if he wants to challenge R-Bar. Kitten Petter, his session is done. He won't be improving from P6. But Schwarner on the pit straight, DRS open, up to the line. Sets a 25 flat. He found a lot of time in the 3rd sector. Jumps to 3rd place. Nicholas has invalidated, but Alp hasn't. We'll see what his
Alp
sector
was
2...
He was a 10th down in the 1st sector split,
oh,
so we'll get the 2nd sector split now.
And he's actually pulled out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear, I really would have liked to see if he absolutely nailed that lap. Would have been pretty epic to see. He's going to give a tow to his teammate Fenrique. Pull out of the way. Let his Brazilian teammate past. He's up by 0.7 of a second. It's going to be a tremendous... No, he's going in. This is a strategic call.
His best laps on mediums at the moment, so...
It was either he was going to qualify in the 10 on softs or start outside the 10 on whatever tyre he pleases. And he elected to go with the latter option.
Yeah, so I was just on board with Arbar, and he was up by a 10th or 2 as well, but he's bailed out at the end. so he must have felt he was going to lose time as well. I think that's just going to do us for quali.
Indeed it does. It is SWM Alp on pole position. 1 minute 24.378. Oh my goodness me, how do you go that quickly? Nicholas is in P2. 1 minute 24.896. That's over half a second. That is over half a second. That's a lot. Oh my goodness.
That's massive. Yeah.
Schwarner in P3. JD in P4. Pretty solid qualifying for the Williams. Arbar in 5th. Barmo in 6th. Kittenpetter in 7th place. We'll go through top 10 in just a moment. United Bosnia in 8th. Wingett in 9th. And SWM Bean starts in the 10 on the medium compound, setting a 125.764. 1.4 seconds off the pace of Alp. Then it's Amram in P11, Fenrique 12th, JCK in 13th. Sozon Pat, that's going to take me a little while to pronounce that, in 14th. Burzy in 15th, Mitch Burns in 16th, the Stone Towel in 17th, Lopez in 18th, Twitchy in 19th, and Lunacy will start at the back of the field in 20th. 3 seconds separate the entire field. Not the biggest margin from first to last that I've seen, but still pretty big indeed.
Well, when P6 is a second off, then doesn't sound so bad.
That's true. It does come down to an absolutely ridiculous lap from the guy who's at the top. So, but we'll line up on the grid here. Drivers will be deciding what kind of strategy to go with. For the drivers outside the top 10, they'll be deciding what kind of tyre to start with. I'm assuming, of just my own experience and also of what Bodhod said, I reckon a lot of these guys will start on the medium compound. I don't think they'll start on anything else. Medium tyres just give you that much flexibility. You don't go straight to your hardest or longest wearing compound straight away. And if you get damage or if there's an early safety car, you don't just waste a tyre. Keep it in your back pocket, and if you get into trouble or if there is an early safety car, you can fall back on it and try and get to the end of the race. So I imagine a lot of these guys will be starting on the mediums. Maybe one or two would gamble with the hard tyre, maybe, if they've got nothing to lose, but I imagine most of them will be on the mediums.
Yeah, I think by lap 3 or lap 4, those mediums going to be much better than the softs already. The qualifying softs. So, see the likes of Amran and Fenrique, you'd assume would be on the mediums. now.
And lo and behold,
yep, mediums.
All the way down bar 1.
Yep, so Tichy will put the hards on, going for something different. So he'll have to keep his nose very, very clean off the start. But yes, as expected, 11th down, all picking the fresh mediums. They'll be nice and quick. First few laps, trying to hunt down a couple of those soft guys. We'll see how long they decide to stay out as well. Lap 4 or 5, you can kind of pit for a 2-stop, but if you're going to 1-stop, you'd have to stretch to 7 or 8, 9 kind of range. So we'll see how they play it.
But yeah, it's a pretty obvious towel, and a towel that I thought would come out. A lot of these guys on medium compound tyres. We'll see how far away the soft runners break away from the start, as the Stone Towel is doing a bit of drifting in the high-speed S section. Why not, I suppose, trying to get his tyres up to temperature, up to pressure, in the fanciest way possible. 10 out of 10 Prezzo for style. Don't try and burn out your tyres too quickly, mate. Want to save a little bit for the race itself. Should be a fairly interesting race. Yeah, only one driver, Tichy, on the set of hards. He'd be praying to keep his nose clean and hopefully get lucky with a safety car or two. Just in the right place. Not early on, but sort of at the mid-phase or late phases of the race. Really bring him into it.
Yeah, if you can get one around the 15, 16, 17 mark and slap on the mediums, that could really help him treat, but that's asking for something pretty specific.
That is true.
It's always a gamble. It's always a big
It
gamble.
can happen. It's not impossible. It can happen.
Definitely.
So.
Particularly with the closeness of the midfield in this tier now, plus just the general kind of technical nature of the track, plenty of places you can drop it, particularly if you're racing alongside someone. So it wouldn't be too surprising to see a couple of yellow flag periods, but we'll have to see how they will at least approach the start, whether it will be send or whether it will be caution. It's a very tricky start, a couple of really heavy braking zones following long straights, so it always makes for some interesting action.
We have 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go here at Sakir. I think Alp has converted well, but Nicholas has done an even better job, and Schwarner has done an even better job than Nicholas, ran the long way at turn 1. He tries to take the lead, but he can't. Nicholas with the inside line, he holds on to the lead. Schwarner in second, Alp in third. The rest of the field seems to be behaving themselves. See the drivers scramble all over the racetrack to try and find a little bit of track to race on, as we have an end plate falling off as Bosnia has damage. Falls to the back of the field, down into 20th. See there, missing end plate on that racing point. So he's going to have a hard time for the rest of the race, I'm sure. Field scrambling around turn 8. Just trying to give each other a bit of space, try and get through the first couple of laps. Spurs, he goes deep, makes contact with the stone towel, and now he has damage. A missing end plate on the right hand side of his front wing. Will hurt him tremendously.
Yeah, unfortunately, Stone Tower's also got damage from that dive bomb. And Mitch Burns has picked up damage as well.
Oh, he does too.
So both halves down. Yeah.
Yikes, that's not good. That's not good at all for the Haas cars. Lopez goes deep into turn 13, battling with Lunacy. They're side by side. So we have a fair bit of action going on in the sort of lower half of the field. Towards the top half, it seems pretty tame, pretty under control. Oh, hang on! Oh dear! JCK and Bean, they were side by side. I think JCK was trying to go into the pits. Neither driver wanted to yield there. That could have been quite a nasty accident, but fortunately it wasn't. Oh dear.
Oh, that was a massive scare. Oh.
In fairness, it was
JCK's got damage as well, you can see there, but oh wow.
A bit silly, I think, as well. I think if you're going into the pit lane, surely you should just yield. Surely.
Well, Bean was down his inside in the final corner, so he knew he was there. So I'm not really sure what the thinking was for JCK in there, because Bean was going to try and make a move down the inside. The straights. That's really weird.
If he was indeed going into the pit, just yield. You're going to be losing plenty of time in the pit lane. You're not going to be losing much if you just drop back a second or two to try and get yourself into the pits. I mean, that could have caused an almighty accident there. It really could have.
Yeah.
Oh dear, it's JCK and Sozon make contact. And the Greek loses a few places as well, as Bean overtakes Amram, as Lopez overtakes Sozon as well. And running wide is Lunacy. There's a lot of action back here. It's nice to watch. Amram's not giving up either. He wants to scrap it out with Bean, as Nicholas sets fastest lap, and Alp is on the attack, overtaking Arbar. Heading towards turn 1 with the inside line, he gets to place. He's back up into third as JCK does go into the pits. Yeah, it's just a bit silly there.
With him this time.
No, thank goodness for that. Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me that you would fight that hard and not sort of give in and trying to go into the pits. But that's just me personally. But at the moment, the top guys just sort of being patient, not really attacking each other too hard, unlike the guys sort of in the lower midfield. They're really having at it. But Nicholas...
that gap in the front, it's been toggling kind of between 8 tenths and 1.3 seconds at varying points of the track. So obviously Nick and Swan have different strong points on the track, but the DRS is very, very close, and that could be quite important for Swan to hang on to that.
Well, Schwarner needs to get within it now. He's a tenth out of it. If he can't get within it, he might be somewhat vulnerable to Alp, and it may allow Nicholas to pull away. And I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if Nicholas was dumping his ERS to try and pull away. It's going to be close. It's exactly 1 second, I think, at the DRS detection point. Let's see if he gets DRS or not. No, he doesn't.
Missed it.
So Schwarner, somewhat unlucky there to be just outside of DRS range, and as I said, he's now quite vulnerable to the black arrows of SWM Alp. Fenrique overtakes Wingett for 7th place as well. So the Mercedes-Benz on a charge through the field on those medium tyres.
Yeah, Fenrique, the lead medium run at the moment. He's overtaken 2 Alpha Tauris in 2 laps now, so those mediums look like they're starting to switch on now at lap 4. So he might be one to watch. He starts to close up to this top group here.
As
we've got
there's
an Alpha off.
Yeah, that's Lopez.
That's Lopez. He's in the middle of the straight off the track, so that's... I wonder if he's had a bit of side-to-side contact on the straight there, because that's a really weird place to be off the track.
That is very true.
Yeah.
He is still practicing on that wheel, so he might have just lost it by himself. But now
he's
back up.
Nice switch back on his teammate.
I think Tichy just sort of pulled out of that. I think he's just recognising he's just a reserve driver. Let the full-time driver through. Let him do his thing. They're also on different strategies as well. No need to fight. Has been spun. He is spun round at the exit of 11. Sector 2 and 3 yellow flags. He gets out of the way. Very professional stuff here. Oh, he kind of gets in front of Lunacy a little bit, but no harm, no foul. So that's really unfortunate for Bean. Qualifying in the 10 on the mediums. He's now down in 15th place with a lot of work to do. Now, we should go back up to this because top 5 are currently separated by no greater than 1 second from each other. All of these guys will have DRS, except for Nicholas, of course, leading the train. So Schwarner, he's got good car speed, clearly, because he's closed back within a second of Nicholas as Fenrique overtakes Kitten Petter for P6. So those medium tyres definitely switched on Fenrique's car. Lopez overtakes Bursey, JCK, and... oh, Bean's in. Did he have wing damage, or is this just...
You wouldn't pit off mediums even if you'd spun it, I think so. I can double check on this.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, he knocked off his entire left side of front wing. Yeah.
There we go. So that's quite unfortunate for Bean there.
Stuff. So the soft guys are definitely going to be dropping off the next lap or two. Most of them are hitting 50% now.
Well, keep an eye on that gap between Fenrique and JD. See how much that closes in over the course of this lap, as Bosnia gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. First of the night, probably won't be the last. Schwarner applying pressure to Nicholas here. Alp falling back a little bit. He's behind Schwarner by over a second. Arbar is on the back of Alp, giving the Mercedes-Benz plenty of trouble. And behind Arbar is JD in the Williams. And that gap has closed by 0.2 over the course of the first sector, so I do believe you're right, Bud Hod. Those soft tyres are ready to switch off, and the medium tyre is going to be the optimum tyre to be on. Gap closes even more by another 0.2 down to 1.8 seconds. The leaders all just following each other line astern, not giving each other too much trouble as of yet. Locking up a little bit there, Nicholas, as well. Gap between Nicholas and Schwarner, 0.7 of a second as I head towards turns 14 and 15. Yes, this is 2 corners, according to the official track map. That little right-hand kink is the actual final corner on the racetrack. Makes no sense, but hey-ho. Oh, and pit window's open. And, oh dear, Tichy's out.
Tichy's in the wall.
Virtual safety car deployed. Keep an eye on that Ferrari of Amram. Does he pit? No. What about these guys? Mitch Burns? No. Sozon? Oh, someone's going in though. It's the Stone Towel. He has damage still. So he's coming in. He's going to get that damage fixed. Probably put on the hard tyre and try and get to the end.
Yeah, there'll be a stretch, but doable if you're kind enough in your tyres. But probably the the best chance for those to get rid of their wing damage.
Well, if I remember correctly,
getting off the
Stone
mediums
Tower
at this
doesn't
point's
use
not
any
ideal.
assists except for Racing Light, if I remember. So, he'll have full control over the car. And typically speaking, when you've got no assists, you can generally get more life out of the tyre simply because you have more control. So, he can do it. Oh, and a drive-through. Oh, and a spin for Nicholas! He's botched the restart and he's just reset the circuit! No, no, no! Oh, what an unbelievable error that is! He has botched it! He has...
Championship as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, what a mistake.
And he's in as well. Nicholas, oh, he'd be kicking himself with that mistake.
Yeah.
Tyres just not up to temperature, not up to pressure. Just asked a bit too much of the car, and the car did not hesitate, it just spun. Oh, the implications of that very mistake.
That's massive. That was Warner into the lead now.
But
there you go.
Alp has elected to go with the undercut here by pitting onto the hard tyre. He does need to get past Lopez, and then he has a fair amount of clear air. And I remember that the undercut is pretty nice around here. It's not incredibly powerful, and Lopez doesn't fight at all. I know that the undercut is pretty good. It's not massively overpowered, but it's pretty nice around here. So if Alp can string some solid laps together, he could probably take the lead away from Schwarner when he goes into the pits. And of course, we can't forget about Fenrique. Fenrique on those medium tyres, tossing it up with the soft runners as Lopez runs wide, brings out a yellow flag.
He's just... yeah, just getting well out of the way. Something I did notice, JDTV has put on the medium, so we have one driver electing for the two-stop.
Well, hey-oh. Might as well take a gamble, see if it works out.
See.
You know, if there might be an opportunistic safety car, like with when we talked about Tichy starting on the hards, it might work out for him. Schwarner and Arba, both of them on the hard compound and the way they go. Now, where does Alp come out in respective to both of them? Keep an eye on the orange and the yellow dot there in the pit lane. They're still in it, they're still in it, they're still in it, they're still in it. Oh, this is going to be close. And Alp's going to be properly on the attack here, looking around the long way. Going through turn 2, his tyres are up to temperature, they're up to pressure. Schwarner's aren't. Can he attack perhaps? Ooh, not quite, he's not close enough to attack, but he was a lot closer than what he was before, prior to the pit stops. So Schwarner, once everyone has done the pit stop shuffle, is in the effective lead, but he's got a lot of pressure in behind him right now. See here, Nicholas is behind Wingett, who had to serve a drive-through after speeding under virtual safety car. Seen that quite a few times. Unfortunately, in league racing, the delta is quite brutal. You have to almost keep your eyes wholly and solely focused on the delta, because as soon as you take your eyes off it, you never know, the delta might just drop on you. You have to come to almost a complete stop so that you don't get a drive-through penalty. But JD on those medium tyres, he'll be very quick compared to Schwarner and Alp. Well, theoretically anyway. I'm sure he'll be trying to get a move on, try and pass both of them, and perhaps try and pull away. As Alp moving to the inside into turn 1, as we have an Alfa Romeo who has spun out. I think that must be Lopez.
No. Yeah.
Oh, and here comes JD on the attack here. Looking around the long way. Oh, can he make this stick? He's still on the outside, but he has the inside line for turn 5, and he gets it done. Great move.
Wow.
Just showing the advantage, I guess, of the better compound tyre, just able to stick it around the outside.
Yeah, it's a really, really long corner. It's really hard to stick it around the entire way, but he's managed to do it with the grip of those mediums, which he has to use now. I must to probably try and clear Swarner and get some clear air to push. Very, very nice move there from Williams. He's having a very solid race.
Well, I think his mindset has to be just aggression, because he can't be conservative and sort of just hang behind his rivals and just sort of dawdle behind them, because he has to do another pit stop. So he needs to be assertive, he needs to be aggressive, he needs to find a way past as soon as possible, because if he doesn't, he's just losing time. So JD, he's in a good position perhaps to overtake here. 6/10 behind, he'll have DRS. Will he dump his ERS as Lunacy goes into the pits? Mitch Burns, that's a late call to not go in. Across the pit lane white line, the entry white line. Electing to stay out very deep on the brakes, JD. There's round turn 2. There's Alp falling back towards Arba. Does Alp have any sort of problem? No, it doesn't look like it. Just maybe a bit out of his rhythm right now, because he's falling back towards Arba a little bit right now.
No damage or anything, so he's clear on that front.
Okay. Oh, as JD overshoots the hairpin and allows Alp to go through. Or maybe not. Oh, he's very lucky there that Alp was aware. Oh, as Alp goes wide at turn 10, opens the door for Arba, but Arba can't get by. Schwarner down the inside into third place now, overtaking Mitch.
That's important. If he can get a gap now, try and drop the 1 second. He might not quite have enough track to do so, but if he can get his foot down now before some of these guys overtake, as Alp gets very loose out of there as well. So Alp's going to drop a bit of time. He might come under pressure from R-Bar as well, so you can see how hard these guys are pushing, making mistakes around the place. As Lopez has binned it, and that's going to bring out a safety car.
Safety car has been deployed, and into the pits goes JD. Same with Mitch Burns, same with Alp, they're in. This is come at a very opportunistic time here, this safety car.
You can't put more hearts on.
No, you only have one set. You only have one set, and they help out the two leaders at the moment, Fenrique and Amram. They can pit. Hard tyres, go to the end. And they got a massive margin.
Massive for them. Yeah.
So no longer is this a race about Schwarner and Arba and Alp. Fenrique and Amram are probably going to be leading 1-2. Actually, no, Amram won't. He's only 7 seconds in front.
Fourth, but that's still an incredible position for him.
Absolutely. So he's now bringing himself into this fight. But Fenrique, he will definitely come out in front of Schwarner and Arba. And into the pits he goes. Hopefully he gave his pit crew the call that he's pitting, otherwise he might get a delayed stop. I have seen that in the past, and this is a perfect pit window for the medium runners. Out he goes, in the lead, and set to go to the end of the race.
Jeez, what a turnaround of events.
I think Fenrique's just found a pot of lucky gold there. That's massive. On fresh tyres, he's got track position, no penalties. And he looks strong on the medium tyres as well, cutting his way through the field. As Amram will come out in 5th place, just behind Kit and Petter. Both McLarens looking strong in P2 and 4. But Amram now in a fantastic position in 5th place on fresh hards. Same with Mitch. P6 on hard tyres. Where did that come from? Just staying out.
Wing damage at the start. I remember as well. So he's gotten very fortunate with this as well. But what a turnaround! JD's been a bit saved. Alp on the mediums, Nick on the mediums. It's going to be interesting to see whether they go to the end.
Well, we're going to be spending 2 laps on the safety car, so
they won't be any good. They should make it just.
Spending about 2 laps, so lap 15 or so will go back under green flag racing. So they're going to be doing about 15 laps.
I'm looking at this telemetry. Mitch didn't pit for his, or he didn't change his front wing. It's only 12% damage on the right hand side, but apparently it's not enough for the pit crew to decide to change it, so he does have a little bit of front wing damage still.
Yikes.
But 12%, it could be a lot worse than that, but that's still going to be a bit of a pace detriment, particularly with so many quick guys just behind him.
Oh, not only that, but there's also a lot of high-speed bends across the course of the racetrack as well. And you need the downforce in those high-speed sections, particularly at turns 5, 6, 7, and also through turns 11 and 12. So it'll hurt him, and particularly in Sector 2, he's going to be vulnerable. But so long as he can maintain the track position in the first and third sectors, he might be okay, because there's not really any sort of overtaking opportunities in the second sector other than maybe turn 8. So I wouldn't even say turn 11 is a reasonable place to overtake, because it's such a fast corner. It's basically single file through there. So
Just look up and down the field. Lunacy and Bersey have both gained a lot of places off that. Putting in a fortunate time. Lunacy in 9th from last. Bersey's now up into 11th. The two Alpha Tauris, unfortunately, both picking up those drive-throughs. They were both sitting in the top 8, I think, after the first stint, but with those drive-throughs plus the extra stop. They're now sitting last and second last, which is not ideal. So you've got likes of Kit and Petter and AM1 as well, who are probably a little bit higher than you'd normally see them as well. So we'll see if they can hang on to those positions, but it is a pretty mixed up field. It's going to make for a really spicy second half of this race. So try and sort each other out, particularly with the tyre compound difference. All the guys in the faster tyres behind all the guys in the slower tyres, pretty much. So
yeah,
that's going to make for some interesting racing.
We'll see how aggressive those softer compound drivers are, particularly Alp and Nicholas. I don't think they'll be mucking around here. I think as soon as the green flag drops, they're sending it. I have a feeling. Because they can't let Fenrique and Schwarner and Arbar just pull away. They can't really afford that. So
yeah.
And those medium tyres will only be so good for so long. So they need to make the moves early. Ooh, this is going to be an interesting finish to this race. Safety car.
You know, I might dip now.
Okay.
Might have to dip in 5 minutes, but I don't want to compromise your calling of this. It's going to be an absolutely crazy fun race. So thank you so much for having me in the box for a little while.
Well, have fun with your wisdom teeth being pulled out.
Cracker of a finale.
Oh. But, no, thank you very much for joining me in the combat. You've been a tremendous help.
Alright.
But, alrighty, so, oh dear, Fenrique's really backing up the field. Holy moly. As they round turns 14 and 15, Fenrique leads the field away. He's got a tremendous margin already over Schwarner, almost 1 second as we go back under green flag racing. Amram on the back of Kit and Petter. Will he look for a move? No, he won't. As I thought, Alp is looking left and right to try and get some move done as Mitch Burns attacking JD for 6. Round the outside goes Alp. He gets P7 out of nowhere. Oh, but he gets himself a 3-second time penalty. That's not good. Bursey's dropping down through the field. He's dropped down to 13th. And Alp trying to keep 7th place here. Lunacy on the attack. At the moment, Alp in the middle of a Williams sandwich. Nicholas staying in P9 on the back of Lunacy. Oh, I reckon Alp was thinking about a move down the inside there at turn 8. I reckon he was thinking about it. Up and over the crest, round turn 9 and into turn 10. Just a bit of locking up, nothing too major. Oh, Bursey's out, he's crashed at the exit of turn 8. Will we see a safety car? No, he won't. It's quite unfortunate there for the Renault driver. Alp just looking absolutely everywhere to try and find a way past. Round the long way at turn 13. No way, he can't make that stick. Unbelievable, he does. Kit and Petter, granted, didn't force Alp off the racetrack. He wasn't pushing too hard, but still. Fully committed, Alp. So is Nicholas, now just in behind in P7. They're not mucking around, these blokes. They're on a charge. Arbar on the back of Schwarner. Schwarner losing time to Fenrique as they complete the first lap on the green flag racing. We've got 14 laps to go. So still plenty of racing to take place. You can see the drivers negotiating turn 1, getting through relatively okay. Alp and Nicholas now on the back of JD. Where will they look, I wonder? Through the high-speed S section, they will close in, utilising the greater mechanical grip that the medium tyres provide. Around turn 8, see closes in, up and over the crest towards turn 9. No DRS available as of yet. So if he wants to get an overtake done, he has to do it the old-fashioned way. Uses overtake here. Close in a little bit more on the Williams. He may go for an opportunity if he's close enough into turn 14. If not, he'll be patient. Try and make a move into turn 1 as Bean goes into 8th place. That's some recovery for Bean after what happened during the race. To be back inside the top 10 and with a healthy shot at very solid points. Because he too is on the same strategy that Alp and Nicholas are on, so he can just follow those two. As DRS is now enabled. Alp, is he close enough to attack here? Will he use overtake? He isn't. He's just sitting in the slipstream, being patient, waiting for the right time to strike. Round turn 1, into turn 2, then turn 3. There's some battling in the background at turn 1. Round turn 4. Alp not close enough to attack just yet. Although he's going to have a look down the inside at turn 8. JD gives him the space. And he stays out in front. Using the racing line and the added traction from being on the racing line, he stays out in front in 5th. Fenrique trying to pull away, a gap of 2.2 seconds over Schwarner. Arbar in 3rd place, a bit under 1 second behind Schwarner. Stonetal overtaking his teammate Mitch Burns, who was fallen down to 13th, so that wing damage really hurting the Haas. Seems that 12% worth of damage on the front wing. Yeah, definitely baring its teeth, it seems. Out on the back of JD, who now has DRS on Amram, looking to attack. Looking the long way, he gets it done before the braking zone. Into 4th place goes the Williams. Does Alp follow? No, he doesn't. Round turn 1 they go. Into turn 2, sitting right in behind the gearbox of the Ferrari. Using DRS, he pulls to the inside. And into P5 goes Alp. What about Nicholas? What does he do? Probably has to sit in behind the Ferrari through this high speed. Oh, he misses the first apex. Just ever so slightly. Would have lost him a little bit of ground. Not too much. Oh, and Amram has a moment and a half there at the exit of turn 8. Down the inside goes Nicholas. They're side by side round turn 10. Amram is off the racetrack and Bean follows his teammate. Amram losing 2 positions in 1 corner. Out properly on the back of the Williams now. You'll probably get him on the pit straight, or maybe even earlier. No, not quite. You'll sit in behind the Williams. Here we go. So Alp will get DRS here. He'll go round the final corner. Sorry, turn 14, then the final corner. I keep forgetting that little kink is a turn. DRS open. Overtakes, pulls to the inside. It's a straightforward move into 4th place. Goes SWM Alp. Next target is 3rd place Arbar, 2 seconds in front. Nicholas, what can he do? Can he make any moves on the Williams right now? He's right in behind, ready to attack. Round the high speed S's. Turn 5, turn 6, then turn 7. Does he look here? Yeah, he's going for it down the inside into turn 8. Can he get it done? JD gets the switchback. They're going to be side by side as they go over the crest here into turn 9. Gets it done. Another switchback from JD, perhaps. They both have DRS, but JD can't put the traction down. He falls to 6th. Nicholas up into 5th. Nicholas needs to stay within a 1 second range of Alp. Oh, and Alp has spun! Oh, no! The charge back through the field has come to an abrupt end for SWM Alp. He has spun out at turn 11 and he's fallen to last. And JD has spun out as well. Disqualified from the session is SWM Alp, driving the wrong way down the racetrack. Nicholas, a 10-second time penalty. What on earth has happened there in turns 11 and 12? Incredible. So Alp will not be scoring anything. Nicholas is in the pit lane. Has he and JD perhaps come together there? Jesus Christ, fellas, do you have a Discord that you can talk into instead of talking on PSN? Here we go. Mitch Burns, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. JCK and SWMB. Oh, JCK has a moment, catches it though. Stays in 6th place. Oh, and what's going on back here? We got... Oh, Wingett's around. Back on the racetrack, and so is United Bosnia, I believe. It is, the Swede. He's off the racetrack. Oh dear. Lot of drama going on here. A lot of drama. Excuse me. Kids and Petter on the back of Lunacy here. Closing in towards the back of the Williams. Around the high-speed S's of turns 11 and 12. Around turn 13. Gonna have to find how to turn the notifications off. I swear Sony have done something with the options in regards to turning off notifications. Just can't seem to do that. Has been on the back of AMRAM. Closing in within 3 tenths, 2 tenths, 1.5 tenths. Can't get it done. Closes in again towards turn 4. Again, not close enough. What a fantastic battle this is turning out to be. Between some of these drivers are really fighting hard at the moment. It's good to watch. On being around the outside of turn 9. Can't get it done there. Switchback maybe? No, can't get it done there either. You'll just sit in behind the Ferrari and wait patiently. You'll close in. Pull to the inside. Goes for the move. They're wheel to wheel around turn 11. This could be nasty. And he gets it done. Oh, what a great bit of driving from both of them, really. A lot of respect there. A lot of skill as well to not come together. And Bean jumps up to 4th place. Remember, this man had a spin earlier on. Fell a long way down the order. He's now back up into the top 5. Quite the recovery. Yeah. So, several theories in the chat. We'll have to see, in regards to that incident involving Nicholas, Alp, and JD, how that all panned out. Yeah. Because Alp was ghosted when he spun around, but he would have provided one hell of a distraction for Nick and JD. They might have taken evasive action. Because if ghosting was turned off, it would have been a tremendous accident. Because, Alp, you kind of, when you turned the car back around, you were in the middle of the road. But fortunately, ghosting was turned on, and it wasn't a tremendously big accident. But, yeah. A very interesting one indeed. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of steward's inquest in regards to that as well. But it seems everyone's now sort of behaving themselves, not really attacking each other. Lunacy trying to keep onto the back of Kit and Patter. JCK hunting down his teammate. Towards the back end of the field, Sozon is attacking Mitch Burns, heading towards turn number 14. Sozon closing in, perhaps? No. Burns is actually keeping Sozon at bay. There we go. At the moment, top three has remained unchanged. The gaps are pretty big as well. Fenrique pulling away a 4-second margin over Schwarner. Arbar 2.3 seconds behind Schwarner in P3. So it looks like the top three are pretty much set in stone, unless Bean can pull some great laps out of the bag with those deteriorating medium tyres. Rest of the field pretty much behaving themselves. I think we should have a fairly clean race to the finish. Hopefully, anyway. Amram is now under a bit of pressure from his teammate JCK on those 10-lap-old mediums. Round turn 14, then turn 15. You'll have DRS, and he's using overtake a bit as well. Is he close enough to attack? He's thinking about it now. He switched it up into the overtake. He switched it off. Down the inside. Big send here from JCK. They make contact. Only light contact, nothing major. No, more light contact. Oh, I was going to say, we're going to have a fairly clean race to the finish. Maybe not. Maybe I jinxed it. JCK, it appears that he has gotten past his teammate into 5th place. And he doesn't have to worry about Amram too much. Does have that penalty next to his name, 3 seconds, I believe. 3 seconds for Sozon as well, 3 seconds for Mitch Burns, 10 seconds for Nicholas for exceeding track limits, and 3 seconds for United Bosnia. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a very interesting investigation post